Hello, how are you today? I'm sure you all have heard, whoever doesn't live in Dubai, have heard of what's happening around us in the region. And you've extensively heard about how big a mess it is. And if you're living here, most probably you know that most of what you're hearing, or what they're hearing, what everyone is hearing, is not true. And you may be part or one of those who have had the fear as well as some excitement to spread a story that looks like a story that's worth spreading around, and have taken a video here or a video there, and gave his amazing analysis or his view, and some view is based on fear, which is rightfully okay. You're a human being, I'm a human being, we're allowed to be scared if there's an event that we're not used to. Especially people are scared usually when there is non-clarity in the air. But I wanted to have a chat with all of us, all of you, to discuss the very interesting phenomena that we're living today. We're living in Dubai. I'm living in Dubai. Many of you may be living in Dubai, Abu Dhabi, Iraq, or any other emirate. I've been living here for so long, most of my life. And I enjoyed living here most of my life. I decided some time ago, when I retired around 6 years ago, that this will be the home for me for the rest of my life, for my son, for my wife, and hopefully it will offer my son the great future it offered me. And future is not only about money. Yeah, we made success, we created financial success, but you can create financial success in many places in the world, and any place in the world. If you're financially successful, if you're smart with money, if you're good at investment, you'll mostly do it anywhere you are. But there's many other things that are not simply offered because of the existence of money or financial success. Some of it is awareness, the energy that accompanies your journey. That's very important. And I lived and enjoyed all of this through Dubai. I lived through 2008. Actually, before that, there was a cycle before that that few of us remember. Then 2008, then 2015, and everything between them, obviously. And here we're talking about financial events, COVID. And I come from Lebanon, so I'm originally Lebanese. I'm born within the period where wars were happening. Thankfully, my family tried to keep me as far away from living that on a daily basis as possible. But that's where I come from. And I've been so blessed for all of the past period to live in a place where it's so peaceful. It's so genuinely fun to pursue a career and success and a life in. And I enjoyed it. And I would tell you today that I'm still enjoying it. Yes, we had unfortunate, challenging events. Yes, our biggest fears have happened or even beyond, because I've never thought of this taking place. What I used to fear is that, God forbid, a terrorist act or an act of a security breach here or there may take place, because there's a risk of that anywhere in the world, regardless of how good you are from intelligence perspective and security perspective, and you have an eye everywhere. That's still a risk. We're human beings. And I always had that as a myth that scared me. And I used to say, God, protect our country and our city of that. I'm not a UAE national, guys, but to me it's similar to my country, similar to my city. It doesn't matter if you have a passport or you don't. If you chose to live there and the country accepted you to live there, and the country presented you with a home, and a home does not mean the home, the house you live in. You can buy a house, but the country presented you with security and respect and accepted you as good as you could be accepted anywhere, including your country, provided you with fair chances, with fair treatment. That's important. And that's, in my opinion, what a home is. And I've been provided with all of this. And today, the last myth have broke out. Worse than my biggest fears have taken place and have happened. And thankfully, I would say that it passed. That doesn't mean that the war in the region have passed, or there will not be any rockets or missiles or drones that the government or the country or the Air Force or the defense system will intercept, and some, God forbid, may leak and would not be intercepted. Well, that all can happen. But let me tell you what passed. What passed is when the country was tested with the events that have taken place, which are worse than my worst fears, you find out that the country is prepared. Now, prior to COVID, that, although that wasn't a fear on anyone's mind, at least not on mine, because I never thought that that could happen. I never understood what a pandemic may mean. When it happened and when the country dealt with it the way it dealt with it, it gave me much more trust in the system, in the country, in my choices. You know, there was a speech by Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed at that time, the president of UAE, and then another few incidents with Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid, who was probably around all the time. Similar to what's happening today, by the way. Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed and Sheikh Mohammed Rashid, Sheikh Hamdan were, with many others, were in Dubai Mall having coffee on the day of, and that's the leadership saying that we are between everyone, we're in front of you, we're living the life you are supposed to live. Now, when that happened, and I promise you, if you go back, I'm sure you can find it on YouTube or online, you will have a shiver when you hear the president of a country saying, and he said it in Arabic, but I'll translate it for you, saying that there's no UAE national or resident or visitor that will need medicine, Medcare in other words, food, drink, or anything else if you're living in the UAE today. And they proved it, they've done it. I simply, in one of our companies, had an accountant who had, is living in a sharing accommodation, similar to how many starters in UAE live, because when you start in a new country, you live in Tokyo, maybe you live in a capsule arrangement. Here you live in a sharing accommodation. And he had COVID, and he was told that he will be moved to a hotel on the government's expense, not on our expense as a company, not on anyone's expense, not on his expense. And he will be given, and he was given full treatment. He was given 3 meals a day. He was given everything as if he's living in a hotel. And he was living in a hotel, just because they don't want the contagion effect to take place, because he's living in a place probably where there's many people around him. When he stops being contagious, he went back. They continued, and I don't want to give you wrong numbers here, but for 2 or 3 weeks, sending him to his house food so that he's well fed and so that he's well taken care of. I had 6 shots of vaccine probably. I don't remember exactly, 5 or 6, but something like that. My family had been vaccinated. My son probably haven't because he was so young. But regardless, it was a choice. People could have been vaccinated or not. So if you have a problem with that, you could have stayed non-vaccinated, and some people stayed. Yet obviously it stopped you from having free access to everywhere, but that's normal, and that's what the government's job is to do. Now, I took you back there to tell you that they've acted in a way that made me feel, you know what? That's a country that you belong to. You belong to not by birth, you belong to by what happens and how it happens, what they plan and how they take care of things. It's very fun to have those amazing big manchettes and big sayings that we have in my country, and many of you have in many of your countries, and great politicians are good at that. But action after that sometimes lags, most of the time lags. Let's be very honest here. The government here acts exactly how it says. So appreciated that you have a government that's this stable and this mature as a system. But when this happened, I really did not expect. It was a permanent fear, the perpetual fear, the last myth that we could be ready the way we are ready for this. Now, this is not to tell you that Dubai is great and UAE is amazing, and yeah, and I'm not paid to tell you something like that. And I represent myself, and I represent probably not even my wife, because she may at sometimes not agree with my thoughts. Now she does agree with those thoughts, but regardless. With my son, I never permitted to represent him because he represents himself. So, but I wanted here to point out for all of those who are shedding a wrong image about what's happening and about the situation in the city and the country. The first day everything happened, my son was in his friend's house on dinner, went and got him. By the way, yes, that day there was a drone or some debris that fell behind my house directly in Dubai and created some noise. And if you go there now, you will see no effect. There was 2 glasses broken while I was coming home and this is one of the reasons I'm recording this, they're fixing them. Okay, so that is what happened today. As we speak, this is what's happening out there. That day, I picked up my son, got him back home. Thankfully, he wasn't home when that happened, because probably the noise would scare a kid. And probably it scared many. And you have the right to be scared. No one is telling you don't be scared. And some people went down to the basement. Now, I stayed in my house. My wife stayed here. My son stayed here. Everyone slept in his bed, and all was cool. Second day and third day. Now, why did this happen? It's not because I'm reckless. I'm definitely not reckless. People who know me understand. I come with a very low level of risk tolerance and very high level of very, very high level of that survivorship thing. You know, I'm one of the first people who stockpiled at their houses. By the way, this is a Lambo or some sports car, not a rocket outside, just for you to know. If you heard it, I'm not sure if you heard it. So I'm the first person who stockpiled one on the when COVID happened. Why? Because I'm scared. I was scared that I have so many employees, I have so many people who depend on me, I have so many things that I need to take care of, and so many people whom I need to take care of, and I did that ridiculously, in a ridiculous manner at that time. Everyone laughed at me. So I have that level of take precautions not to fall in trouble. That's how I live my life, very risk averse. Now, when that happened, when that took place, at that point of time, I did that procedure. Currently, I stayed in my house. Everything we didn't stockpile, everything ran well and normal. Some of our helpers and employees went home because they weren't comfortable at that time, and which is understandable. Some people have never heard of that. Again, some people are scared more than others. It does not matter. Some people are scared and hide it. Some people are scared and show it. It doesn't mean that I'm not scared or somebody else is. It doesn't matter. Life is valuable to every single individual and life of the people around him, obviously. But this is how we carried on. I went for sports next day. I carried on with my work. Everything is not normal. Yeah, we are in challenging times. My job is to protect my family, protect the mental environment around, the emotional environment around me, of my friends and my neighbors and everyone I can impact. My job is not to stop missiles. But thankfully, I'm in a place where the people whose job is to stop that have been doing a much better job than me with my family. So that's something to keep in mind. And here comes those people who are scared, but also excited, want to shoot something, create an image, and then say, oh, you know what? This is happening in Dubai. I want to tell you something, guys. First, I said it several times in the past few days. None of you understands modern warfare, and I hope that you never do. Modern warfare and risks are not that a drone hits and it creates a small fire, or debris hits, or even a ballistic missile, although thanks God we didn't see any ballistic missiles on any of the buildings here, and hopefully we'll never do. But modern warfare is humans that evaporate, is buildings that do not exist after a small bomb small is relative here. This is modern warfare. Mess in a country, for those who are tourists living among us and are our guests, and we are guests here in a way or another, but also are our guests. I consider myself a man who's living in his home country here, second home country. Those tourists are living, they're in the mall, they're living their lives as normal as possible with precaution. And this is what the government told you, and there's full procedure set to comfort you, to communicate right with you, to communicate right with everyone. So to have a resident who has been a resident for a long time or a short time stand up and create a negative image, maybe of fear, I accept it if it's the first 10 minutes. But when it happens after that, if you commit a crime, if you shoot someone one shot, it's probably anger. If you shoot him 100 shots and there is 5 minutes between a shot and another, trust me, no court will consider that anger. The emotion should simply soften with time. So when you do that, and you do it, and you consistently do it over a day and another and a third, guys, you don't know a mess. In some countries, without mentioning any country, you would be a tourist or a resident or a local, and a bomb bursts downtown, one bomb, few kilograms. The whole country will become bunkers. You'll become a convict just because you were passing by. If you were taking a picture, most probably you'd be insulted. You're living, every one of us is living like a tourist. We're enjoying everything as if in our life, in a daily life, while all of this is happening. Guys, can you imagine that? I'm sure if you do imagine that with me for 2 minutes, you'll change your action. You'll go delete that video, because the impact of that on no one is positive. But that's not true. If it was true, please go ahead and post it and show the truth to the world. If it's true, please go ahead and do it. But if it isn't true, please don't. Please don't, for your sake. Not because someone will stop you from doing it. No, you can scaremonger as much as you want. But the minute that you have done it, you have simply resembled what you ought to be and represent to a city and a country who've taken you on, given you a job, regardless of how comfortable or not you are. And we all pass through periods where we're comfortable or not. And beginning of any life in a new city is tough. But when you understand what's happening and how you are protected and your families are protected, and you're only fearing the noise, thankfully, not anything else, and you haven't had incidents where you feared your life, and no one dealt with you like a terrorist in a terrorist medium, and there's no bunkers around you, and there's no police or army on the streets and harassing people, or doing their job, it doesn't matter. Everyone is doing their job in the most delicate way possible. I'm not sure there is better than that can be done. I'm not sure that this has been done in any place in the world. They say that the school of UAE and Dubai, specifically in COVID, should be taken and given as education elsewhere, everywhere. I would tell you that the school of this currently happening should have the same done. And I hope that the challenge that we're living will end soon, will end very fast. But if you're scared, I accept it. As I told someone who's a friend of mine, sit in the corner, hug someone, let someone take care of you. There's a number you can call. It's a hotline that can have people help you if you need emotional and mental support, and if you have no one around you. But don't make others feel bad, because if others feel bad for no reason, you will not feel better. And that excitement to what's happening, guys, this is not a game. What's happening out there is not a game. What's happening out there is one of the biggest wars that have ever happened over the past centuries. And that's not to undermine, I wouldn't say centuries, tens of years. Because somebody will get me back to First World War or Second World War. Understand the happening and the size of its happening. Remember 30, 40, 50 years ago, the weapons that are used now make every war over there and at that time make it minuscule, really minuscule. Thank God you are living in such an environment. I am doing that today and I will do every day. By the way, I have every chance to go anywhere I want. I have a chance, if for those who are searching, shall we stay or shall we go? Guys, I can go to Oman very easily. I have so many friends there, I have a business there, I can move on. I can go elsewhere. I decided to stay here and I'm staying here because I would never today choose to be in any other place and I wouldn't feel safer. That's not connection to a country by birth. I would not feel safer in any other place today. And please, God forbid, further things happen outside. Do not say, oh, he's stupid. This is what he said. You can't say that. But trust it. I feel safer than anywhere else. I feel that my son and my wife are safer, and I don't want to name cities in the world, than any city I know of and I visited few in the world today. God bless you. Stay in peace. Enjoy your time. Enjoy Dubai. Enjoy the weather. We have amazing weather those days. Enjoy everything you can enjoy. You're allowed to enjoy. That freedom that you have out there, that protection that you have out there, enjoy it. Don't let fear, if you're really scared, affect you. Don't try to use fear to get some reach. Yeah, fear reaches faster than positivity, but don't allow it to happen. Be decent to yourself and to others around you. And again, God bless you. Enjoy your time. Stay well. Stay positive. This is an interception, by the way, just for you to know. And stay well, stay positive, and enjoy the life you live. And I hopefully believe in a few weeks you will be on the beach again if you're not on the beach today.